Hey, what is up everyone, Axel here for AnimeUproar, and the Jujutsu Kaisen manga has officially returned after a little over a month-long hiatus. For those who don't know, the mangaka, Gege Akutami, decided to take some time off for health reasons, so I hope he's doing a lot better now. We know it wasn't anything too serious, but the manga industry can be extremely demanding, and I can imagine it's pretty easy to get worn out working for it. But for now, I want to celebrate the return of this series by having you leave your favorite moments of the Jujutsu Kaisen series in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for taking part in this. If you enjoy this video and want to see more Jujutsu Kaisen content in the future, including future chapter reviews, be sure to leave a like, and if you're new here or if you just haven't subscribed to AnimeUproar, make this the video you subscribe and be sure to click that bell and select all notifications. You can also follow AnimeUproar on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar, or you can follow myself at AxelBeats. Of course, this video will contain Jujutsu Kaisen manga spoilers, as we are talking about the latest developments in the Jujutsu Kaisen series, so proceed with caution, you have been warned. Okay, it has been a hot minute, but the last few chapters of the manga were absolutely insane hype. We ended on an extremely powerful set of chapters in which Mai sacrifices her life to allow Maki to inherit her spirit, her will, and most importantly, her cursed energy, and where this new and improved Maki slaughters the majority of the Zenin clan. It was a lot, and in many ways it seems as though Maki will be the new Toji, but we'll have to wait and see. And that brings us to chapter 153, Gambling Match. We pick up with Yuji and the gang talking to Tengen, and they're being told that Hikari has become a bookmaker for gambling matches in the Tochigi prefecture. While we haven't actually met Hikari yet, we have heard his name a few times, with Yuta saying that when serious, Hikari is likely even stronger than him, and with Gojo saying that he's a student who might be able to rival him in the future, which is crazy to think about. That is some really high praise from two of the strongest sorcerers in the series, and I've been very curious about Hikari for a long time now. We also learn that despite there being clear rules against letting non-sorcerers learn about curses and Jujutsu, these gambling matches are basically the MMA for Jujutsu sorcerers and curse users. However, the spectators are regular people, so they have to add some special rules in the situation. But more or less, it's like if Hogwarts had an underground boxing circuit for muggles to watch. Yuji and Megumi head over to check things out, and Megumi explains that it's important that no one knows they're connected to the Jujutsu schools, because Hikari was suspended, and now he's breaking their laws involving these fights. As such, they are basically like cops in a room full of robbers. Megumi isn't really sure if Hikari will work with them, because all they really know about him is that he's famously kind of a jerk, and that he's extremely strong, and that they need him on their side for the upcoming events. As they try to walk into the building, they're stopped by this buff bouncer-looking guy and his short co-worker. The buff dude demands that they leave and pulls back to take a swing, but Megumi says that they need some money and they came to fight, which stops the dude's fist about an inch before it lands. Then we have a very direct Fight Club reference, as the man responds that the first rule of Gambling Club is that you don't talk about Gambling Club, which raises the obvious question for the man: how did they even find out about this club? Also, since we don't have a name for this guy yet, I'm just gonna call him Tyler. Pretty fitting, I think. Anyways, Megumi bluffs that he learned about the club from an ex-fighter who acted tough, and offers to take his place since the other guy went missing. They get permission to join, however the stipulation is that only Yuji will be allowed to fight, since the boss just doesn't like Megumi already. This kinda works out in their favor, since let's be real, when we're talking about fistfights, Yuji is probably more suited for that situation. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge the change of pace here. It is super welcome. We just went through a ton of heavy moments, especially with Maki and the Zenins, so coming back to an infiltration mission that is basically just Fight Club is a great way to simmer things down and give us a moment to catch our breath after all the terrifying things we just saw, especially after a month-long break where maybe the pacing would have suffered for it. Yuji is a little bit nervous about their bluff being pushed a bit far, however, Megumi deduces that if there are cursed users here, then there's probably a lot of reorganizing going on and they're most likely safe. Not to mention, he is fairly certain that Hikari was already watching them through the security camera, so they must be getting close to finally meeting him. The gambling club is already distrusting of Megumi though, so they'll have to be extra careful. The problem is that the culling game starts in just 9 days, and time is running out. Because of this, Megumi decides that they need to make a move tonight. They cannot afford to wait. But he does state that at the first sign of trouble, they're gonna have to leave. They need to play this very quickly, but also very safe. We cut ahead to Tyler explaining the rules to Yuji for the fight club. For the gambling club. Very different things. And the most important things are that the customers are enjoying themselves. As a result, the main 2 rules in each fight are that firstly, the fighters can't use Jujutsu techniques. After all, if the customers can't see what's happening, there's no point in them even coming. It would be a pretty bad show in that case, I think. Secondly, there's no running allowed. You need to fight where the customers can see you. Furthermore, there are also 2 kinds of fights. Real fights and scripted ones. And most importantly, those scripted matches are written by the boss. Meaning that if Yuji wants to meet Hikari, the most straightforward way for him to do so is to put on one hell of a show. And speaking of shows, it is officially time for the fight to begin, as we see this parking lot that has been made into a makeshift arena by removing the ceiling to allow for people to watch from the upper floor. And it looks like it's gonna be a hell of a fight for the spectators, as well as one that we can enjoy because Yuji's first match is going to be against Panda. Panda obviously is going through his own things at this time, but at least for this moment he seems to be pretty well held together. I had never really even contemplated the idea of Yuji fighting Panda because it never really seemed like it would make sense for it to happen, but now that it's here, I'm pretty excited by it. Sure, they can't use their curse techniques, but these guys are more or less physical brawlers anyways, so I can imagine that it's going to be a pretty good match, honestly. People begin placing their bets, and we see this girl with star-shaped pupils talking to Hikari, but he just seems bored with the situation, saying that no one wants to watch a man fight a panda because the outcome is predetermined, and bets with guaranteed outcomes are just kinda lame. However, in reality, the fight is anything but boring. The crowd and announcers are going wild as Yuji and the panda give everything they have for a short time. However, at the same time, Panda is explaining that because he and Hikari have history together, there's no question of why he's there, but even so, he's still being avoided. They're having this discussion while putting on the show, and it's great. He goes on to say that there's actually another third-year student whose technique might be a problem, which is interesting. I don't think we've had any information on this extra third year at all up until now. However, what I do know is that almost every third-year student we've met so far is a monster, so I'm assuming they will be too. Panda sets Yuji up for the victory, and Yuji sends him flying, immediately drawing the attention of Hikari, who just watched this man beat up a panda and watched the arena go electric as a result. He calls someone at the arena and says that Yuji will be winning all of his fights going forward, and that his way of fighting was very deliberate towards drawing attention to the fight. Hikari is beyond excited to work with him, saying that he could write a whole book worth of scripts for this fighter. We also find out the name of the starry-eyed girl who seems to be the other third-year student that Panda was talking about earlier, with her name being Hoshi Kirara. This is pretty fitting since Hoshi means star and her eyes have stars in them, but either way, as the conversation keeps going, we see Megumi listening in from the shadows as they talk about how Kirara will be sent to watch him later since they still don't trust him. And with that, the chapter comes to the close as Hikari says that the last time he felt like this was when his ex-girlfriend went on a shopping spree with his credit cards and he had to take on installment payments to pay them off. Which, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not usually super happy when I've had a girlfriend do that, so I'm not sure where this guy really stands in this situation. Maybe he just means that he hasn't been so fired up or passionate since that happened, because yeah, I would be pretty emotional as well, but we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, that is all for this chapter. I am very curious about how Hikari will react when hearing about the culling game. Does he already know about it? What's going to happen from here? And if he is just told about it by Yuji or Megumi, will he be interested in helping or not when he learns out about the stakes that are involved? On top of all of that, while I am curious about Hikari, I think I'm much more nervous and interested in this other third-year Kirara. Who is she? What was this technique that Panda was so nervous about? I have a million questions for her since they just kind of dropped her in from nowhere, and I'm hoping we'll get some answers soon. I think it was honestly a pretty fun way to come back to Jujutsu Kaisen after this hiatus. We left on such a serious and honestly scary note, and I was worried that the break might make it difficult to continue on that tense track. But jumping back to a section that is clearly meant to be more fun was just a great idea, and I think it paid off really well. But what did you guys think of the chapter, and what do you guys think about Hikari and Kirara? Really interested to know your thoughts. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to AnimeUproar to see all future content. You really do have to go out of your way to hit that bell, because if you don't select all notifications, we can't guarantee that YouTube will suggest our content to you. It's just how YouTube works. That being said, you can follow the channel at AnimeUproar on Twitter and Instagram, or you can follow myself at AxelBeats. I want to give a big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. A special thank you to the absolute mad lad and disciple of Lord Twigo himself, Alpha Sigma. And of course all of our The One Tier patrons, the ones who stand above all other clans: Ingrata, Patehefa, Algital, Dr. Cortman, The Toasted Chi, The Spike 8227, Emperor Otaku, Spidey Life Tinel, Tungsten Tarkus, Baked Buddhist, Cody Hebert, and Monkey D. Quilly. And of course I want to thank our pro hero patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, the red-haired Raven, Angel Cruz, Anatoly Kazitsky, Very Gucci, Alicia Akhter, Bonnie Parks, Hinokami and Water, Joanne Garcia, Ted Not Ted, Fatboy Games, Corey McGowan, Metal Mama, Deadly Saint, Soul Ride, Slice and Dice. If you're enjoying our videos and feel like they're adding some level of value to your life, please consider supporting us over on Patreon. Even $1 gives you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, and will get your name in all of our videos along with these fantastic people. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, stay excellent.